Hey guys, I'm Christina with Ask a Montessorian, and now Mrs. Houston with Montessori Children's Academy as well. Ms. Houston, my mother, who will also be here working, is Mrs. Houston, so yeah, can it get more complicated? Anyhow, I wanted to share with all of you our latest adventure. We're opening a Montessori school in Prescott for 16-month-olds to 5-year-olds. If you're following me, you probably already know that. And so we're kind of pivoting from the consulting to a full-time school. And it's very exciting. Our hours are going to be from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. We're going to have the school day is going to basically be from 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and then the aftercare will be from 2:30 to 5:30. We'll have an a.m. program, but we are 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. So the a.m. program is 7:30 to 11:45, and then the full day is 7:30 to 2:30, and then if you need extended care, it's 7:30 to 5:30, and that's for both the toddler classroom for 16-month-olds to 2.5-year-olds or potty trained age, and the primary classroom for 2.5 or 3 up until 5 years old, until the children are entering into kindergarten. So without further ado, I'm going to show you some of the exercises that we have here in the classroom so that you can get a feel for what you can expect if your child were to attend school here. It's so exciting. We've just been unpacking and preparing, and we finally got the certificate of occupancy. And now we're working on getting the license with the health department. So we will be opening any day now. We are enrolling, so please feel free to reach out to us. We have the tuition, the times, the tuition rate schedule, the times, all of that good stuff on Facebook. It's one of the pinned posts. We do have an application so that we can learn a little bit about you and your family. And then we really enjoy sitting down with the family prior to offering a place at the school so that we can get a feel for you, you can get a feel for us, and we can all make sure that it's a good fit. So please feel free to reach out to us. Facebook, our phone number is 928-445-0649, or you can reach us on Facebook Messenger as well. So I think there's TikTok and Instagram, and you can message on those as well. The fastest way is probably Facebook Messenger or email. Email mcaprescott24@gmail.com. All right, so let's look at some of these beautiful materials together. I'm so excited. Here we go. We're going to start in the practical life area, and then we'll move into sensorial. I'm going to show you a little bit of math, a little bit of geography and science, and then a little bit of language. So it's going to be, get comfortable. This is going to be, it's going to take a little bit. This is going to be a longer video, one of my longer videos. So I'm excited. Here we go, guys. All right. So over here, we're setting up practical life. Some of the exercises you would find in practical life are pouring with liquids, pouring with solids, washing a table, washing a chair, preparing fruit and vegetables, painting your fingernails, juicing. Lots of things that you do at home and your child witnesses you doing. So that's why practical life is so incredibly important and so impactful. And the children are just naturally drawn to it because they see you do it at home. So they get so excited about it. We have a lot of pictures around the classroom. Claude Monet, I think there's a Van Gogh. When I was doing my training, I witnessed a 4-year-old, 4.5, maybe almost 5. She did Sunflower by Claude Monet, and I'm I'm not kidding you, because of how much time she spent over here doing the metal insets, because she loved the metal insets, she created almost a perfect rendition of Sunflower by Van Gogh. The children trace these. This is part of Sensorial, and they practice making these shapes and drawing like this so that they can perfect control of the pencil. And then we also have the geometric solids that go in line with this work. Since we're here, I'm going to take you into language really quick. Everything is based on phonics. And you'll see a little bit of print here. However, I start with cursive, and then we move into print. So we'll be using a cursive movable alphabet. Over here we have the farm. This is part of language. And the children learn how to identify the animals and write labels for them, identify the farm. They create what's called nomenclature, labels for everything. They can label the entire classroom. They label all the materials. Once they start writing, they love it so much, and so we just let them run with it. This is part of language. The red ball represents the verb. This is part of math. It's called the decimal system or the bank game. This is also part of the bank game. These are called symbols. We've got quantity and symbol. A quantity is the beads right here, and then they symbolize the beads with the numbers. And then this right here is the number rods. 2.5 to 3-year-olds work with the number rods. They touch them and they count. So they have that sensorial experience. And then they also label the number rods with cards that have numbers on them. So you have matching cards with the number rods. Counting is very relaxing for the children, so they really enjoy it. This work is called the hierarchy of materials. Hierarchy of mathematics, I believe. It's been a minute since I've done this one. This one is usually introduced in elementary, but it can be an advanced primary, so it can be the 5 or 6-year-old. So it's a huge example of the number system. There's a unit cube. I don't have it here with us, but there's a green unit cube, which symbolizes 1 unit. It's this size, but it's green, if you were to cut this right here. Then you have the 10 bar. And in Montessori, in the mathematics, you'll notice that unit is green, tens are blue, and 100 square is red. Now I'm pointing to the 1,000 cube right here, and I'm saying unit. This is supposed to represent a large version of this cube right here. Okay? And the reason it's introductory for elementary is because that cube that's green is 1,000, okay? Not 1 unit. Forgive me. That's, 1,000. This is 10,000. This is 100,000. And this is 1,000,000. So the child can see 1,000,000 units in front of them. It's amazing. And here is another example that ties in with the metal insets where you have geometry. This is called the geometric cabinet. And we have all the shapes that the 2.5 to 3-year-old traces these for a stereognostic experience, the tactile. They trace them with their finger first. They take them out. They place them back in at a very young age. And then this goes on to very advanced mathematics for the 5 and 6-year-old. Then over here, as part of Sensorial, we have the pink tower. There's a tiny bead. Here it is. Okay. So this little box here has the tiny bead, the tiny cube, excuse me. This cube, this is so cool. This cube right here, tiny little cube, goes on the top. You can see my fingers, so you get a feel for how tiny it is. We keep it in a separate box so that it doesn't go missing. This little cube right here is 1/1000th of this cube down here. So this is a beautiful example of Maria's love of mathematics, because she was one of the first engineers in Italy, one of the first female engineers in Italy. And she created these materials so that the children can understand how math works in a way where they can actually hold the quantities because of the absorbent mind. So, yeah. There we go. That's what the pink tower looks like. I'm going to put this little cube back. And that lesson has a lot of extensions. The pink tower has a lot of extensions, and there's a lot that you can do with it, from the 2.5-year-old all the way up until the 5-year-old. That's one of the most amazing things about these materials, is you can start with the 2.5-year-old with something basic. In the table of contents in our albums, it goes by age. So the 2 to 3, 3.5, 4-year-olds are beginning in the classroom and getting introductory lessons. I say 2.5 to 3.5-year-olds getting the introductory lessons. And then these basic materials, the pink tower, the number rods, these are called the red rods. This is called the brown stair. These basic materials can have advanced lessons for the 5 and 6-year-old. They can label them, they can incorporate them together. Those are the extensions where they learn to build things very carefully. That's advanced. It's important that they master simply putting the brown stairs in this form on the rug. So you take it down onto the rug, and you can do 3-period lessons, name, clue, test. Check out my channel, Ask a Montessorian on YouTube. I talk about that game where a 3-period lesson includes name, clue, test. It's an important part of Montessori for learning vocabulary. And so the child builds this stair on the rug beautifully first. And then there are so many amazing extensions that they can do with it. This is one of my favorite materials that I used to take out all the time when I was in the primary classroom. And it created a deep impression for mathematics for me. And for the rest of my life, all the way up through my master's program, I found math to be incredibly easy. And I credit it to my hands-on experience with what's called the trinomial cube. If you look at this, you've got a squared plus b squared plus c squared. This is c cubed. No. Okay, you have to look it up. This is a cube, right? I mean, it's flat, it's a square, but so as a cube, this represents an algebraic expression that prepares the child for when they start doing algebra. It's really beautiful. And you have to forgive me, I'm a little rusty because I haven't checked it out, but I'm pretty sure it's a squared, b squared, and c squared. Something to that effect. If you're familiar with this one, let me know, because that's an elementary component. But in primary, they take it apart, they put it back together again, and it's a beautiful work. I just really enjoyed it so much. So even though this is sensorial because they're building a puzzle, right? It's incorporating tactile sense and stereognostic sense. This could also be used in math. And you'll notice a lot of these materials tie into other areas in the classroom. Even though, we've got practical life, and then sensorial, and math, and language, and then this is science and geography. We'll get into that. A lot of these materials are so amazing because the children can take one piece of material and go into all the different subject areas with that one piece of material. For example, the globe. The older child can do a research project and talk about the population of each continent, population of each country, population of each state. How is that population growing? This is a very advanced lesson, like, introductory, elementary, but an advanced primary lesson for a 5.5-year-old. It's so amazing. And so these are maps of the continents with knobbed pieces so that they can use their pincher grasp, take them out. Some of these have several pieces. This is one of the more challenging works in the Montessori classroom because children often lose the pieces. There are some very tiny pieces in this work, as tiny as the cube to the pink tower. Like, for example, the map of the United States has Delaware and New Hampshire and, New Jersey. And those are tiny, those 13 colonies. When you imagine the United States map as big as this, right? This is not the map of the United States because there are 50 little knobs on it. But to give you an idea of what it would look like, the 13 original colonies, those states. That's not it either. Let's see if we can find the map of the United States. Some of the wooden knobs may not be coming through the styrofoam. So I started opening everything, and my mom said, whoa, 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 whoa. We're going to wait to open everything. It's going to be a really amazing experience to have the children come into the classroom, explore the materials, start opening them, with us. And we want to keep all the pieces together. So we're not opening all of the materials quite yet because we're going to start with basic lessons first. And some of these materials have so many pieces. And once a piece gets lost, unfortunately, we have to remove that material from the classroom until it's found. Because if it's not complete, it kind of loses its purpose. It's really important for the materials to stay complete. For example, if one of these puzzle pieces got lost, we would take that map and store it until we found that puzzle piece. And so and the wonderful thing about this classroom is that if that map is in storage for a little while until the piece comes, because we order it and it gets shipped to us, and it could be, a week or 3 weeks, there are different things that we can do with that particular continent. So if the child's really excited about working on the United States of America map, and one of the 13 colonies was misplaced, we can't find it, we have to put that map up, we can still incorporate other lessons with the map of the United States. This is the botany cabinet. So it's similar to the geometric cabinet with the lessons in the sense that the child's going to trace them first, take out the pieces, put them back in. Those are the introductory lessons. And then they begin to do vocabulary. We do 3-period lessons with vocabulary. They label them. Then they start writing, and they can write their own labels for the types of leaves that we find. So we've got lots of nomenclature in here. We've got the body, we've got parts of the fish, and you'll find, oh, there we go, so you guys can see it. There we go. In any Montessori classroom, you're going to find lots of nomenclature. This is so that the children can learn different parts of animals. And it's, here's an example of further work that they can do with the United States of America. And the nomenclature gives the child an opportunity to simply speak. When I'm giving the one-on-one lessons and we're talking about, nomenclature, and we're presenting the horse, for example, and we're labeling the parts of the horse. We make a book about the parts of the horse. They color the different parts of the horse. They'll make a book that's similar to this, and they get to take it home and show it to you. It's beautiful to watch. And the science, right? That's just an example of an opportunity for the child to experience language. You can have all sorts of different kinds of nomenclature. Nomenclature in science, nomenclature in geography, nomenclature in mathematics. Nomenclature is basically labeling the environment. You've got labeling the indoor environment, the outdoor environment. It's a 3-part label where it's, for example, the part of the horse, right? So you've got the mane. The child would color the mane of the horse and find the label, and then they would say mane, and you can do a 3-period lesson with that. And I'm trying to remember. Let's see, I'm going to give you an example over here. Bear with me. We have 3-part cards over here. So the horse one, I believe it's a 3-part card. Where are they? I thought I had one over here. Well, this gives you an example. Oh, excuse me, I'm looking at the floor. This gives you an example of our language program. We're going to have to take a few of these and put them in storage simply because of our space. We're limited to the number of shelves that we have, and we're going to grow into more shelves. But we have a huge language program that my mom has developed over the last 50 years. And so the children will be reading rather quickly because we start with the sandpaper letters, tracing them, right? Use the 2 fingers and you say You introduce 3 of these at a time. I usually do a vowel and 2 consonants. And the children learn how to read before they learn how to write. Excuse me. Scratch that, flip it, just like Willy Wonka and Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. The children learn how to write prior to learning how to read. It's phenomenal. So they're writing with the movable alphabet. They're creating words. They may not be writing quite yet with the pencil, but they're writing by creating words with the movable alphabet before they start writing with the pencil and before they start reading. It's really, it's hard to explain, but when you see it, you'll be like, oh, light bulb. It's beautiful to watch. And so what they do is they copy the words. They start with the sandpaper letters, then they go into the movable alphabet, and they start with simple phonetic words such as cat. Okay, I say simple, but they get excited when you can start with some basic three-letter words, but you can quickly go to other phonetic words such as fantastic. Fantastic is phonetic. And the children love that word because it's got 3 syllables, but it's still easy and phonetic for them. So I say simple in the sense that you start with sounding out and the phonics, and then you can go into puzzle words. They also call them sight words in traditional schools. And we call them puzzle words because they're puzzling, right? They don't have the regular rules that you find in phonics. So, for example, disciple, disciple. That has S and C coming together, making the sound S. And that's an advanced word for children. It has 2 phonograms in it, with the S and the C and the L and the E. And so, yeah, it's fun to watch. It's really amazing to see the children just start working and flourish in the classroom once they, find what they absolutely love, and they begin to just really hone in on it, and their concentration periods grow to be longer and longer. And yeah, I could go on forever, but anyhow, let's go over it again really quick. We've got practical life. Feel free to ask me if you have any questions. This I'm going to pick up and move because these cards go with the geometric cabinet, which I showed you earlier and is right here. Ta-da! So we're going to put that right there, and let's look at this really quick. These are the layers of the earth in a puzzle form. And this is a beautiful example of a material that's basic for the younger child. And there are so many lessons on the layers of the earth when they get into 5 and 6 years old and elementary. We don't have an elementary program here in Prescott. We're hoping to grow into one, but we don't have one yet. So there are charts, there are stories, there are so many amazing lessons that go with the layers of the earth. Then we have the flower, the parts of the flower. Then we have the parts of the tree. And then we have the parts of the leaf. Now, when I was in my training back in 2005, we did not have this puzzle. So this is super exciting because this really ties into elementary. And even if you're unable to get your child into an elementary program, there are still amazing things that you can do at home. You can find out what their teachers are doing in the classroom and incorporate a little bit of Montessori on your own. This is a basic puzzle that I also have in the toddler classroom for the 2-year-olds who come in. And we can create advanced lessons with this by labeling it. And the children can take the dolphin, for instance, and do a research project. Let's say a child is just completely enamored with the dolphin, and they talk about how intelligent they are and how fast they swim and, their blowholes, and maybe they've seen them in the ocean with their parents on a family vacation, something like that. If they're crazy about the dolphin, we take that dolphin and we run with it. And we give them the opportunity to do lots of different lessons that incorporate the dolphin. we talk about the ocean, and yeah. This will sum up here because we're heading into 30 minutes in just a few minutes. This is the last set of materials that I'm going to show you. These are called the dressing frames, and this is part of practical life. It helps the child learn how to dress him or herself, and it helps hone those small motor skills. And it also works with the pincher grasp. You're pinching this, right? And you're pushing this through, right? This, do you see my 3 fingers on here? The way that I'm holding that like that, right? Let me see if I can find one. I'm going to show you. So this pincher grasp right here is an indirect preparation for handwriting. So once you introduce writing with the child, we haven't gotten our colored pencils yet, so I'm going to show you. All right, let's think outside of the box. This is not something that we would have in the classroom. This is something that I'm using as the teacher. The children wouldn't necessarily use this. So you've got this Sharpie, right? Let's pretend it's one of the pencils that go with the metal insets, okay? It's a colored pencil. Use your imaginations. I'm teaching the child how to write with the pencil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 3 fingers. I'm going to start at the base of the pencil. And I'm going to slide my fingers down. And then I'm going to show the child how to hold the pencil like this. Holding the pencil like this is the easiest way for them to write. When they're taught like this, you'll notice that the writing just flows so beautifully. I encourage them to relax their hands. My grasp has changed over the years. I started like this. And this will happen, when the children are not in a Montessori environment as they're older, right? They learn different habits. So I was in Montessori until I was 7. And then I went into traditional school. I went into a Catholic school. And eventually my pencil grasp changed. So if you look at my finger right here, you'll see a little blister from writing and holding the pencil and strangling the pencil a little bit. But see, it's because my finger moved over here, right? If you see your child do this, you want to kind of just gently redirect them to this again, because this is the most efficient way to write. You'll notice that artists encourage this form of holding the pencil. And the reason that we do cursive first in the Montessori classroom is because a 2.5 or 3-year-old will pick up a crayon, right? You want to encourage them to do this. They want to do this right away. You encourage them to do this, but they're scribbling, right? They love scribbling. The first thing they do is scribble. Look how close scribbling is to cursive. It is much easier for the young child to create cursive letters than it is for them to create print. When they're printing, they have to put the pencil down on the paper, bring it down, pick it up again, bring it back up, and then go around. Okay? Picking up that pencil is another step. Whereas in cursive, they're not picking up the pencil. They're simply flowing, okay? So it's easier for the young child to start with cursive. And it's a form of artwork. It's an example of the small motor skills, and it's giving them an opportunity to control their movements, right? Whether they're doing art or they're doing cursive, whether they're drawing, however they're using their fingers and creating something on a piece of paper. It's so beautiful. It's amazing to watch. So that's an important part of our classroom that I want to emphasize, because you will see a lot of Montessori schools that do print or do something called Danielian, which is like little, what would you call them? Little, kind of just little ribbons, like a little curve, right, off of the letter. So instead of traditional cursive, they just have little, it's printing, but with a little curve at the top or something like that. A little flag. I won't call it flag, but I think you get what I'm putting down. And if not, just message me. I'll try and explain it to you. So yeah, I wanted to emphasize that we do cursive in this classroom first, and then we print. And that's often found in AMI classrooms where the teacher is AMI trained. So, let's do a little bit more on the dressing frames. I wanted to show you these. So you're using that 3-finger pincher grasp as an indirect form of holding a pencil and writing. And you're showing the child how to use Velcro. Like that, right? You're going to take all of these out. Open all of these one at a time, carefully. Open this side, close them, relatch them. And that is a basic lesson on the dressing frame. And then the child begins to practice of their own accord. You have buttons. You have lacing so they can tie their own shoes. Yes, a 3.5-year-old can tie their own shoes if they're given lots of lessons on how to do it. We have this one, lacing too, but it's a different material. And then this one is snaps. Oh, excuse me. This one's hook and eye. And then we have safety pins. The children are very careful with these, and we show them how to close them very carefully. We have the zipper. They love the zipper. And then we have snaps right here. Oh, okay, I have a little story with this. I'm gonna flip the camera around really quick. Okay, this is gonna be... I told you to get comfortable that this was gonna be a lengthy video because I'm so excited about all these materials and I'm so excited to share them with all of you. But anyhow, I have a story with these buckles. So Montessori is still not commonplace per se, right? And several of my friends have children and they're not familiar with Montessori, and I do my best to share if they're interested, but I also respect their parenting choices because everybody's got their own way of doing things. And parenting can be a very sensitive topic. So a lot of my friends become irritated with me because I show the child how to do a buckle like this. I call it a buckle. You can call it, a snap or this little contraption here that you'll find on the grocery carts. My friends get really nervous about it is because that buckle is on their car seats. And if the 2.5 to 3.5-year-old children masters that buckle, they can get out of their car seat while the parent is driving. So, it is what it is. You got to observe the child, but it's kind of like, when do you teach them to do the buckle? If they have those small motor skills and they can unbuckle themselves from the car seat, they have the ability to comprehend safety and how important it is for them to remain in the car seat and keep keep themselves buckled until it's safe to take themselves out of the car seat. And so this is a controversial topic, and it reminds me of another controversial topic that my friends, have been like, what are you doing with my child? I teach children how to use the stove. Oh, a crazy thought just came into my head, and it relates to guns. We're not going to get into that right now, but firearms. Anyhow, the stove, right? The stove can be incredibly dangerous, especially if the gas is left on and somebody doesn't smell it, and, they're just, yeah. So my friends would get frustrated because I would teach their children how to use the stove. We have these plastic child-proof covers now for the stove where it puts like a covering. You install it at the front of the stove and it comes up and it keeps the children from being able to touch the stove top. It's like a little shield that's the length of the stove. Yeah. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. So when the child reaches up, they hit the plastic shield. They can't actually touch the stove. I show the child that it's hot. We turn the stove on high. We put our hand over the top of the stove. We use a stool, of course, and the child learns, this is hot, this is dangerous. With a gas stove, I do not put their hand over the open flame, but with an electric stove, when it gets red, it's orange, it's glowing, that's a science lesson right there. They see how it's glowing and red, and you hold their hands 6 inches above the stove, right? And they can feel that warmth. They know immediately. They make that connection. I do not put my hand on that stove because it is incredibly hot. You show them what the stove is used for. If you're constantly telling the child, don't touch that, you've got the plastic shield on there and we don't touch the stove is off limits, and the child's 4, 5, 6 years old. Mom's using the stove all the time to cook dinner. Dad's using the stove all the time to cook dinner. Maybe older brothers and sisters are using the stove. I digress. Anyhow, my point is, teach your children young so that when they start exploring their environment, they can create their own boundaries. They understand that the stove is hot. You're not creating boundaries and putting them in place for them. You're allowing them to understand the consequences of their actions, and then they're creating their own personal boundaries. I feel like I just went on a tirade with you. Oh wow, we're at 43 minutes. So anyhow, if you've come with me this far into the video, I commend you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and sum this up and say, please feel free to ask me if you have any questions. We're so excited to be here in Prescott and offering this amazing opportunity for Montessori for your 16-month to 5-year-olds. Yeah. Thank you again for joining me here. And, like Greg likes to remind me, if you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe. Better yet, tell all your friends, please, that we are here in Prescott. We are opening soon. We are now enrolling. And yeah. Okay, really quickly. We're at 44 minutes. Really quickly, I want to show you the toddler classroom. We'll make this fast. Okay, it's dark in here. Ooh, a little bit spooky. Toddler classroom. There we go. And ta-da! It's so beautiful. Picnic basket, some practical life. The children will be serving themselves in a buffet style beginning at 16-month-olds 16 months old. I'll explain to you what it's going to look like. So there's a shelf, for instance, similar to this shelf. And let me see if I have an empty one. I don't have an empty one, but use your imagination, pretend this is empty. So on this shelf, we're going to have snack. And for instance, we might have some crackers, some pieces of cheese, and a type of fruit. And this will be removed. We're using it to open boxes. And the children are carrying their own plate, walking up to this part of the shelf. They're going from left to right as an indirect preparation for writing, and they are serving themselves buffet style their own snack. And it gives them the opportunity to carry a tray, carry their plate. It gives them the opportunity to choose when they want to eat. So we do a 3-hour work cycle in the morning for both classrooms, toddler and primary. And snack is set out during that work cycle, anytime between 9:30 and 11 a.m. And the children have the opportunity to go and have snack when they feel hungry. Let's say that again, because it's not something that you will see in a child care center, in a traditional classroom setting. The children have the opportunity to eat snack in the morning of their own free will. I love this. Yeah. So they get to choose when they want to eat snack, when they feel hungry. We have labels for their work with their name on it. They take their name label, they put it on their work, they can leave their work out and go, because there are going to be several children in this classroom. So my mom didn't do it in her classroom. Her classroom is a little bit smaller, but I've seen it used in a lot of very large classrooms where the children have name tags. They understand their name tag. It's in cursive, of course. It's laminated. They go to the basket with their name in it. They know what their name looks like. They take that name out, even the toddlers. They take their name out, they take it over to their work, and they set it on their work. Then they leave their work, and they can go to recess, they can go to snack, they can go to lunch, and they have the opportunity to return to that work when they're ready. They have the opportunity to eat when they're ready, when they feel hungry, instead of when the teacher says, it's snack time. Yeah. I had a little guy in my primary classroom who was tired every day. And he was 5. He was an older 5-year-old. And so he didn't normally nap. But in the afternoons, I would say after January, February, so the first semester, he was fine. He wasn't napping. He was concentrating in the afternoons. And then second semester, we do quiet time with both classrooms. It's part of licensing with the health department. You have to have quiet time. Some of the older children, 4 and 5-year-olds, will fall asleep during quiet time. This little guy was falling asleep come January, February, every day in the afternoon. And so I made a comfortable little spot for him, and I allowed him to sleep in the afternoon. I take that back. I have seen this done in a child care setting, where if a child's older and they're really tired, the teacher will follow the child, pay attention to their basic needs. Oh, this child is tired right now. They can't be expected to concentrate, follow directions, have a lesson until they're well rested. So I gave this little guy the opportunity to rest comfortably in the classroom in the afternoon, until I had a chance to sit down with his parents and say, hey, what's going on? What's the bigger picture? Why is he tired? And there were some transitions taking place. Together, we were able to solve it where he went to bed a little bit earlier, and come March, he wasn't sleeping in the afternoon anymore, so it gave him the opportunity to participate in the afternoon work cycle with the other 4- and 5-year-olds. Because he would wake up and feel out of place. Oh, all my friends are working, and all my friends are getting ready to go home, and I was sleeping, and it made him feel a little bit awkward. So together with the parents, we met, we figured out what was going on, and then he was able to take advantage of that work cycle in the afternoon. My point is that in Montessori, we follow the child. Whether it's a hunger cue, whether they're tired, they're angry. Anger is just a mask for sadness. Something is going on in the big picture. We all work together to figure out what that is. Yeah. All right. Wow. I didn't expect this to be an hour, almost an hour. So, like I said before, if you stuck with me this long, I really appreciate you, and I'm going to splice this and make different videos with it. But please feel free to ask me if you have any questions. We are located, I want to let you know that we are located in the lower level of the Trinity Presbyterian Church on Park and Copper Basin. So when you come into the parking lot off of Park Avenue, the upper entrance is the church. You need to drive around the building, come to the back. There's a sign on the door. I'm going to put one of our signs as well. We haven't gotten it up yet. But there's a sign on the door right now that says Ballard Learning Center. I'm going to show it to you right now so you know how to. So here's the door. That's the entrance to our school. Oh, listen to the locusts. They're out in full force. I hope you can hear me. Ballard Learning Center. I'm going to show you the parking lot so you can get a feel for how to get to us. Because we have a lot of people who are going to the church. So I wanted to show you guys how to find us. We're going to put some signs up soon, but in the meantime, you're going to drive through the parking lot. The entrance is up there. There are arrows in the parking lot, so you want to come into the north entrance, drive down the hill and around the parking lot over to our entrance, which is at the lower level right here. And really quickly, I'm going to show you all. If you guys have seen my videos before, you'll know that I'm always like, oh wait, one more thing, wait, one more thing, one more thing, one more thing. And we're not quite at an hour yet, so yeah, I'm going to keep going. I want to show you the playground. It's beautiful. And we just had the mulch put in today, so it is ready to be approved by the health department. This is our entrance. There we go. And this is our new playground structure. Very exciting! This location was such a great opportunity for us because it was a preschool before. So when I went to help the church get the certificate of occupancy, the city said, oh, this is going to be a breeze because we've already worked with this location. And even the health department was familiar with this location because they were licensed for a preschool previously as well. So when some schools first start, they don't have a playground. So it was such a blessing for us to be able to work with this church because they had a playground for their vacation Bible school. And they actually, when we came in, I think there was an old set here last year, and they just put in a new playground set. So that one's brand new. It's going to be so exciting for the children to be able to explore and play with it. And I want to emphasize that this is a work in progress. And we're not open yet. So when we do open, we will be approved by the health department. We will be officially licensed. Everything will be checked, double checked, triple checked for safety and adherence to all of the health department regulations. There are many. It's a big task to get licensed. It's taken us a long time. So anyhow, it's so exciting that we're almost there. Yeah. So thank you for joining me here. We're at 57 minutes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Ask me if you have any questions. Click like and subscribe. Find us on Facebook, Montessori Children's Academy. Find us on Instagram or TikTok. I'll try and create a little bit of varied content for each platform, and so you guys can get a feel for what Montessori is. And my YouTube channel has lots of videos on it about Montessori. So yeah, you guys are welcome to look at those. A lot of those lessons will be here in this classroom. The lessons that I talk a lot about language and mathematics because those are, important principles that the child, if they fully understand those, they do really well when they get into kindergarten at a traditional school, and when they have that solid foundation for primary. One of the things that Montessori teaches is what's called the love of learning or the joy of learning. And when we observe the children and we find out what they're passionate about, the sky's the limit. They build that concentration. And once I experienced the joy of learning, I was in honors classes for the rest of my life, for the rest of my educational career. I'm still taking classes. I just finished the administrative leadership training for the AMI organization that we have here in the United States, with the Training Institute that a few years ago it opened in Mesa. And it was wonderful. It's wonderful to have an AMI training center here in Mesa, so close to us, 2 hours away. If you get an opportunity to go and tour it, you'll love it. It's so fascinating. So, yeah. That's it. We're almost at an hour. 1 minute away. Should I just go for another minute so that we can have an even 60? I'm not going to do that. But yeah, you guys all have a terrific day, and thank you again for watching.